Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. It's match day. I'm Paul John Dykes, and this afternoon I'm delighted to be joined. I say this afternoon, it's actually still this morning, by Lawrence Conley. Big shout out to the Celtic travelling support who got up dead early from all over Scotland, England and Ireland to go to the game this morning, Lawrence. I mean, their devotion is unbelievable on away days like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an early set-off. I think some are setting off 7 a.m. What a party bus that must have been in the way up.
Well,
such things are allowed, of course.
Of course, just a wee half charger and all that kind of stuff. Yes, Lawrence and I are in the confines of our own houses and studios to try and bring you a wee pre-match today at Ross County. Every game, we're ticking it off week on week, even though we're not getting the first game of the weekend. It always seems to be Celtic playing catch-up, Lawrence, but I don't think that affects Ange Postecoglou in his preparations in any way, shape or form.
No, I mean, Anne just said, when you're building a house, you don't look over the fence at your neighbours, do you? He seems to be a master at keeping his guys focused on the task in hand. We know Mackay's going to set out his team well. They're going to be hard to beat. They'll throw a few balls into our box. They'll play for free kicks outside. And, it'll be a difficult proposition. Let's hope, we can get the game put to bed in the first half. Great to see the team line-up out with Iwata starting. He's looked really, really good in any of his cameos. So interesting to see what he can do from the start. 3 defenders on the bench, though. A wee bit different. Maybe I'm just hoping we go and get it tied up and then we can just tighten up a wee bit.
Yeah, we'll look at the team, obviously. There's some changes, forced changes, Lawrence, and we'll be bringing up the thoughts of our audience and the commenters coming through. Thomas O'Hara, come on the hoops, feel like I've not seen them in years. Yes, international break has hindered our match days, that's for sure, but we're back between now and the rest of the season. Games will be coming in thick and fast. Dr. Nax, great to have a 9 p.m. kickoff in Melbourne. Well, you can have a few wee sherbets afterwards as well, if that's your thing on a Sunday night. And David Boyle, morning Celts, looking forward to seeing what Iwata can do from the start today. There was an interesting discussion during the week. There's also Paddy Lavery. I've got to say, Paddy, your avatar includes Big Shah from On the Volley as well. The podcast, if you haven't already subscribed to it, check it out on YouTube. We'll be sharing it on the socials, and they give Acsom a big shout out in their latest episode, which was filmed in Italy, Lawrence. So check it out. It's tremendous to see the 3 lads wearing their Acsom hoops, talking about a Celtic state of mind. Superb. That's what you want. You just want that kind of collaboration. Across the borders and across the regions. Celtic fans, we're all in it for the same game, aren't we, Lawrence?
Yeah, definitely. It's great to see the one, the only Paddy Lavery from Ardoyne getting out there and talking about Celtic. Great to meet him when he was over in Glasgow as well. So, yeah, if we can help each other, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
100%. Andy Harkins, good day all. At 11 at night here in New Zealand, over here on holiday. People watching the game tonight or this morning or this afternoon from all over the globe, and it's great that you're also joining us on A Celtic State of Mind Jungle Line. Again, hello from Dublin, and we will sometime visit you over in Dublin, I'm pretty sure, Lawrence, and we could maybe do a wee live stream from your, I don't know, is it a gang hut? Your wee Celtic palace?
Let's make that happen soon, actually. We'll have a wee look into that.
Why not? Why not? Maybe take a player over as well. This is the team. We'll be running through it in more detail, but it's Joe Hart in goals with Johnston, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor. McGregor, Iwata and O'Reilly make up the midfield with Jota, Maeda and Kyogo up top. On the benches, Bain, Haksabanovic, Turnbull, Kobayashi, Oates, Bernabe, Summers, Welsh and Vata. We've not seen Welsh for a while. It's good to see Summers and Vata on the bench. Of course, we've got the 4 players who we reckon have been fringe players so far, scarcely seen in some instances, who will be playing a big part between now and the end of the season. One of them starts in Iwata. This is his first start. This is his competitive debut start for Celtic. Lawrence, really like the look of this guy so far.
Yeah, he's looked really tidy. Plays with a head up. Great way to pass. Defensively, he looks good as well. So, yeah, excited to see him. I mean, it was the most valuable player in the Japanese league. So, it's quite an accolade when we can see the quality we've brought in for that league.
Yeah.
So, and great to see him start.
and some that we've missed out on. You know, these things come to light often after the event, and Angie's been talking about that as well. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing Iwata. He's obviously been patiently waiting for his opportunity, and it just shows Ange has got confidence in him. People go on about this fixture. This is something else that we spoke about during the week, Lawrence, it being a tricky one. But in terms of our games up in Dingwall, we've got a great record up there. Yeah, it's not always a 3 or 4 nothing, but we've got a great record. And you said earlier about Ross County, and we'll have a look at their lineup as well in just a moment, how they're going to play. Well, of course they're going to play like that. You know, they're playing for their livelihoods. They're playing for their lives. Their top league status. They're only a couple of points ahead of Dundee United. And, you know, after today, if they'd fail to get anything, you know, that's a swing between now and the end of the season. That can happen in one match day. Dundee United obviously appointing a new manager, their third of the season, incidentally, to try and get off that bottom spot. And Ross County are down there. This is a team that Malcolm Mackay said at the beginning of the season, Lawrence, that their ambition is basically to stay in this league. And that was coming from a 6th place finish last season. But you can understand going up there. We know what we're facing today.
Yeah, you know, that's success for Ross County staying up. We know Mackay will set up his teams well, be well drilled, sit behind the ball, hit us in the break, play for set pieces. There's not going to be any surprise, but, you know, as you said, it's what they've got to do. We can't go toe-to-toes and play football, so it's what they're restricted to doing. But from our point of view, you know, Welsh back in, Kobayashi, Bernaby, 3 defensive guys on the bench. We'd expect O to come on. So does that mean, you know, maybe Turnbull, Haksabanovic at one point? Does that mean we're going to see Vata or Summers as well? You know, if it's attacking changes, which we normally make, suggest that maybe Vata or Summers is going to get a wee cameo here today.
Listen, if the situation arises, you know, in the 60 to 65th minute, Lawrence, and things are looking comfortable, I'd love to see the two of them coming on. You know, I know that during the week we were talking about the game time for the likes of Iwata, Haksabanovic, O and Kobayashi, but at the same time, with one eye on the young players coming through, we had a great discussion during the week, you and I, off Acsom through in Glasgow. And we're talking about that, you know, the issue with regards to young players coming through and how difficult it is at the moment for Celtic to establish a situation where, you know, beyond even the age of 15 now, we can ensure that they stay at the club. There's moves in the background with regards to this Conference League so that the progression of the team through the leagues might be something that we're able to secure. But it is very difficult. But if you can show some guys the age of Summers, the age of Vata, that there is a pathway to this first team, then I think that's absolutely vital. I'd love to see both of them. We know Vata's made his debut this season. Summers has been on the bench twice now. It'd be good to see the pair of them getting some game time today.
Yeah, and let's be honest, they're there on merit just now. You know, Ange isn't doing it just to say, look, there's a chance for young guys. He's only going to pick them if he thinks they're good enough. But seeing them come on, you know, and contribute, you want to see them come on and contribute, don't you? Give a decent account of himself. Dawson was unlucky to get injured. You know, he was starting to bang the goals in again, wasn't he? I know he played against St Johnstone last year. He looked okay. But yeah, really hopeful either one or both of these come on in the second half and contribute to the team. An assist or a goal would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Absolutely.
Now, Lord Flashheart, is it a 12 p.m. start for the game today? It certainly is. Early start, early kick-off and an early setting off for any Celtic fans going up to that game. John Sweeney just get the 3 points today with that lot in the next fixture. I'm pretty sure after today's game, the focus for the next 6 days will be on the Rangers fixture. There is absolutely no doubt about that, and I'm looking forward to covering it in some detail. Now, let's have a look then.
To be honest, after today's game, I'm going to be heading down the Barras to Zico.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yep. I've seen he's got some cracking green and white, green and yellow tracky tops in. I think I will be spending some money there.
Yeah. Get down to Zico's. It's just across from Barras Art and Design. And a friend of ours, Simon Weir, it's a shop that he has ran for years and years, and it's been resurrected. This is their new pitch. And if you go down there, you might just see some Acsom and State of Mind gear hanging up on the stalls as well. So brilliant to see Simon back in business down there. And if you're in the area, maybe enjoying the game for a few jars here or there, go and visit him. Top man as well, Lawrence.
Aye, he's such a lovely guy, Simon. And he's obviously played in the same team as Rudy Vata and yourself. And the Football Great series, pulling on the hoops for that.
Yeah, well, you say play. I mean, I don't know if Simon and I play. We're on the park. We've got a strip on. But whether or not you could establish that as us playing, I'm not so sure. I'm just there because I can say I've played with guys like Rudy Vata, Brian McClare, Tom Boyd, and all the other ex-Celts. It's great fun. And of course, we've got a game coming up, a charity game. And it's the centenary match for St. Roch's. And we, as an Acsom, are selecting and pulling together the ex-Celts that will make up the Celtic select team. We're not going to call it Celtic Legends because people get a wee bit, that Celtic v Liverpool Legends game. Oh, he's not a legend and he is. So we're not going to call anybody a legend, but it certainly is a Celtic select team, Lawrence, and we do have a lot of players lined up for that. But the date is to be confirmed because we had scheduled it for the 16th of April at James McGrory Park. And there was a change in Celtic's fixture with Kilmarnock that day. So we'll be announcing a new fixture very soon. Will I be playing? No chance. I don't think my fitness is ever going to come back at the ripe old age of nearly 45. Okay, we'll start off with the defence then. Lawrence, Hart, Johnson, Carter, Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor. Some concerns around the fitness over the international break of Carl Starfelt. He starts today. That partnership between him and Carter Vickers has been one of the reasons why we have got the best defensive record for 2 seasons running now. And, there's all this chat around both players. We've seen all the chat around these guys and the speculation surrounding their future. The way I look at it is we've got 2 of the best centre-halves in Scotland, but we've also got someone like Kobayashi on the bench who has looked really, really good and composed when he's come on for his brief appearances. And then we've got Stephen Welsh, almost the forgotten man of this team, Lawrence. He started off, he scored the first goal of the season for Celtic competitively against Aberdeen, and he's barely played. I felt a wee bit sorry for Welsh. He's a player I've always championed, and I think probably come the summer, he might be one of the guys out the exit door, unfortunately. Lawrence?
Yeah, I think maybe best for his career. He just doesn't seem to be able to break in, and he's really needing football, isn't he? Sorry. Yeah, I think it's probably best for Stephen's career. He's not getting enough football, is he? We're looking at strength in the squad. He's not been able to break in and hold down a place. So, maybe best for him to move on. Looking at defence today, you talked on Starfelt injury worry, but so was Taylor. So we're hoping both of them come through unscathed. It's maybe why we've got 3 defensive options on the bench. With those 2 both biting injury worries, the last few games. So, but Stephen, I don't think he's let us down when he's played. He's just not been able to push and secure a place. So we'll see what it brings. But we're solid defensively, despite what the Scottish press might tell us. Apparently, centre halves are, Starfelt's a bomb scare, and Celtic are ropey at the back. Strongest defence for 2 seasons running. I think there's like a lot of things the Scottish football press do. Very little of it based in fact. Like decisions even himself out over a season. Never seen that. But it is what it is. It should be a solid enough defence for us up there today. Let's hope it is.
The thing with that as well, there was a slight delay there, Lawrence, so apologies for anybody who was waiting for a response and then had me jumping in there whilst Lawrence was talking, but hopefully we can get back on the same frequency here. But you're right, you're absolutely spot on. The narrative that obviously for many, many years was the only narrative because, we had a club newspaper that tried to set a different narrative, and for a lot of years, that was Pravda, and it was something we didn't really want to hear. And then you had the fanzines coming out to try and set the narrative, which was great. But now in the digital age, and the age of social media and blogging and podcasting and streaming, etc., then I think people have got far more information at their fingertips, and it's easier to see the big picture and then to make up your own mind. You don't have to rely on the red tops to tell you lie after lie, which is obviously what we're seeing. And Plunge McNugget actually comes in this is something that we have spoken about during the week before we get back to the starting 11. It took 5 days for an apology. We're talking, of course, in relation to McPherson and his assault on Fran Alonso. If it was sincere, he would have apologised right away. No apology from the club, surprise, surprise. And I notice their players are mouthing off again. Yeah, they are. We've heard it from Lundstrom now. Who else has been mouthing off? Michael Beale's been mouthing off, as has James Tavernier. This is all about Celtic today, but yeah, we will cover all that, I'm pretty sure, leading up to the big derby game next weekend. Because, empty vessels make the most racket, don't they, Lawrence?
Indeed. Listen, they released their apology in April the 1st. I'm not too sure if that says much about... They've tried to play with something there, but yeah, the players are out. They like talking and telling everyone how good they are until they go in the park. It's basically it, isn't it? We've seen the data out there on decisions for them, rather fortunate VAR decisions or non-penalties against them. It's just a lot of noise that Ange and the players don't appear to listen to. We just go on with our job and we keep racking up the points. We're not far away from another treble. That's got to be our aim. Today, take care of this, get 3 points. It's another game ticked off, isn't it?
We say it every week now, Lawrence. It's another game ticked off. It's another 3 points on the board. These are all cliches, but you know what? We're at that stage of the season where, whilst our main challengers continue to win their games, which they're doing, we come out often the following day and do exactly that. And even with some injury concerns, and I'm talking, obviously Moy, Hatate, Ralston. These are guys that would have been involved either in the starting 11 or on the bench today, Lawrence. I still have enough confidence that we have got enough in our way of the combative nature. We've already spoken about the best defence in Scotland, but also the flair players, the players that are creative and are able offensively to create chances and to break down what is going to be a stubborn defence up in Dingwall today.
Yeah, listen, it's a style Ange plays, isn't it? We'll create chances, we know that. We've got more money than Ross County. We should be creating, more chances and be a better team than them. Let's be honest, it gives you an advantage. The thing about Ange and our players, none of the names talk about the treble, they just talk about the next game.
Yes.
Across the city, it's them.
They'll let us talk about the treble.
Yeah, indeed. But it's across the city. They're talking about all the league's not over. We can, actually, their ex-players come in and say, no, the treble's still on until we put them to bed in the final. And they don't appear to have learnt anything by it. They're still talking about it not being dead and it's still on for them. Focus on playing your football. I think Ange has got our players, that's drilled into them. Just play your football, play your style, and we'll pick up the 3 points. But, it's the next 90 minutes that's the most important.
The big thing, Lawrence, you're talking there about concentrating on your own matters, looking after your own backyard. That is the same in all walks of life, isn't it? I mean, if you continually concentrate on what others are doing, how can you then have your own strategy, your own vision, your own style, your own makeup, your own culture? And I think Ange is a master at that. He never gets drawn into any of this kind of stuff, even when it's happening to him on the sidelines and he's got almost like Scrappy Doo and Lee Johnson giving it big licks at Celtic Park, and Ange is just standing there, conducting himself as Ange wishes to conduct himself. He doesn't get drawn in. And by the way, they've tried to draw him in, both the media, his opponents, other staff members at other clubs, other players have tried to draw him in all season long, last season and this campaign, and it's not going to happen because he's wise enough to know what he's all about, and his own character is one of the biggest strengths that we've got, I think, and it's rubbing off as well on our players. I mean, I don't think we get involved, and that's a great thing. Dr. Nax, so I've been curious, how do the Rangers and Celtic players interact when on international duty with Scotland? Well, there was only one Celtic player in the Scotland team. I found it quite funny how everybody was going on about the lack of Scottish-based players in the Japanese squad. Well, there was only 4 Scottish-based players in the Scotland squad, Lawrence, and obviously one of them was Callum McGregor. I think he'll just go about his business in a normal fashion. I mean, there was a time, I guess, where Celtic and Rangers players on international duty would have been pals. That you think about the 60s and the 70s, probably even into the 80s. some close friendships there, Lawrence. But it's hard to say, to be honest, what the dynamic would be, especially if there's a lack of respect all week long or all month long since the last international game. You're not going to go into international duty and pretend you're pally-pally with these guys, are you?
Nah, if somebody's slagging you off all week, and then you meet face to face, it's going to be cordial at best, isn't it? But I don't think they're going to be pals.
They're not going to be rooming. They're not going to be sharing rooms and all that nonsense, are they?
Nah, definitely not. Listen, Callum, another cracking performance from Callum. But I'm just glad he came through it fit, uninjured, and he's back in the hoops.
Absolutely.
It's all about today. And if Callum can produce that kind of performance again, the 3 points will rest with us. And it is just Ange knows not to get drawn in. And I think if you Lee Johnson at Hibs, you said what would be your ideal performance as a manager. In future, if you're to envision it, would it involve kicking balls onto the park to stop the play? So mate, straight away you've been less than ideal. You've got to, wonder about that kind of behaviour from a manager, and then you've got an assistant manager sneaking up behind someone and assaulting them. I think they really need to take ownership of this and admit there's a problem. They're setting the tone not only for the players but for their supporters. Well, if this is allowed, it'll take us 5 days to say sorry.
And like you say, by the way, the fact that it dropped on the 1st of April is strategic. You know what I'm saying, Lawrence? It's almost putting, for me, it's almost putting an amateurish tinge to the apology, which, by the way, when you read it, it wasn't even accurate, was it? Going on about, I've never done anything like this in my coaching career, etc., etc. It's all just bluster, smoke and mirrors. You and I spoke in detail on Tuesday about it being not just this surface issue. We're not just talking about what happened to Fran. We're talking about the whole escapade over the last number of years, which again has entered the Scottish news this week again with regards to sponsorship and how they affect the whole Scottish game. There's only one issue in Scottish football, and it keeps coming back time and time again. Stephen Sloan, welcome back to the show. You're watching on YouTube. Anyone else who's watching on the YouTube channel, welcome to the show. If you want to support Acsom, give us a thumbs up. If you are a subscriber, you're able to comment, so get subscribing to the channel. We do give away some prizes on a monthly basis, which reminds me we need to give away March's prize, and Lawrence and I might do that today. We know that you're a subscriber if you're commenting, so maybe after the game we'll give away that retro concept jersey with the Australian colourway at the end of the game. Lawrence Conley will pick someone at the end of the game and we'll give that away to them. Dr. Nax, you're prolific today. I want us to smash them first half so we can see Summers, Vata and O get some good time. Absolutely. I mean, Vata is a player, you mentioned his old fella earlier on, Lawrence. The story of Rudy Vata, we spoke about it the other day again. Incredible story how he ended up in the hoops for Celtic. I mean, astonishing. He's a guy who basically was a refugee who fled on international duty when Albania were playing in France. I think it was an under-21 game, Lawrence. And the France side they were up against was the likes of David Ginola. Any opportunity to mention him, of course. And after the game, Rudy and I think 3 other Albanian players run up the dugout, grabbed their bags and then fled. Went to the nearest police station, sought asylum, played for a French side for a wee while, slept rough. The story's unbelievable. And eventually, Liam Brady saw him playing in an international game against Ireland and brought him over for an initial trial, signed him up. And he became the ultimate cult favourite, Lawrence. Obviously settled in Glasgow for a number of years, met Rocco's mum, and now we have young Rocco in the ranks, and he's a very exciting talent. We've seen too many exciting talents leaving Celtic in the last few years, Lawrence. Here's the guy we really need to nurture, and to get him some game time today would be fantastic.
I said it'd be outstanding. Yeah, who was it signed alongside Rudy? Was it Mikey and
it was Stuart Slater and Andy Payton. Yes,
Andy Payton.
The 3 of them. Remember, they were standing in the dugout together for the photo shoot.
Yeah, Rudy went on to have a good career after. He was Bundesliga after Celtic, wasn't he?
He played all over. He actually played in Japanese football for a spell.
Right?
I don't know if anyone remembers him playing for St Johnstone. He did play for a spell at St Johnstone. And I remember him playing for Albania against, I'm going to say West Germany. I think it was West Germany. And he was brilliant. Like, he was
Yeah,
up
because
against Lothar Matthäus. He was superb.
He had a few years in the Bundesliga after he left us.
Yeah, he was excellent.
Yeah, cracking. Yeah, it'd be great to see, if Vata could get some game time and, put down a marker for next season. This is what you're saying to Vata and Summers. This is the time of your career you need to be getting minutes in the park and giving a good account of yourself. Contribute to the team, try and set some stuff up. You're looking at it, Stephen said, we're a bit bare going forward. Does it mean Haksabanovic is maybe going to get a chance playing in midfield? Or will it be, Summers or Vata? I suppose it would depend what's going on in the game, but listen, it's going to be great to see either or both of them get some minutes today. It's just, hopefully they can come on and either get an assist or a goal. You just want it to go well for them. The boys are living the dream. A dream that kind of we all had at one point, isn't it? Play for Celtic. If we want to see people coming through, we need to get a chance in the first team. More importantly, we need to take it as well. Because you saw, obviously, Ben Doak, he came on, got his chance, and he done great. But it was just too late to keep him at the club. Maybe if Ange had been an earlier, who knows? So hopefully, these guys, hopefully it's a marker for next season. They come on, they do well. And it'll be exciting to see that we've got that talent coming through, won't it?
Brilliant. The thing is, we know that we're producing the talent, Lawrence. You don't have the likes of Bayern Munich, Liverpool, and various other clubs coming and taking your players away if you're not good at producing young players. The latest one, obviously, going to Aston Villa. We are producing the talent. You look at Summers. Summers is 18 years of age. He's been at Celtic for 11 years. So this isn't like romanticism. This is a player that we've invested a lot of time and effort in. I'm not saying money, time and effort and belief into a young player from the age of 7. And we want to see him progress at Celtic. We don't want him to see him progressing at Brighton, Liverpool, Watford and Blackburn or Bayern Munich or any of these other sides that have come and plucked our young talent away from us. So it's not romanticism. It's not traditionalism. These guys have obviously got the fibre or they wouldn't be on the bench.
There is a wee bit of romance, I suppose. Vata's dad haven't played for Spencer's, haven't played Tommy Burns. It's nice touches, isn't it? So, yeah, look, definitely you don't listen. It's great. You do take a wee bit of pride, go. Well, they were at Celtic and they're doing well in that league. There is a bit of pride in that, but nowhere near as much if they break into the first team and score a goal and go on to establish themselves. So you're looking good. Well, who's that? Remember James? He came on against Motherwell. I think scored, ended up 4-0 for his debut. Who's the next guy that's going to do that?
I know.
Come on at 17 and score, establish himself for the next. I don't know, how long ago was that? Was it 14 years ago or something now, James?
Yeah, it's a massive ask. I mean, we've seen guys coming in. Jack Aitchison became the youngest ever goal scorer for Celtic, 16 years of age. He's at Motherwell now. There's been players that have come in, and I always remember the quote from the aforementioned Tommy Burns, where it's not about just getting a game. It's about establishing yourself. And at that point, you're a Celtic player, because until then, there's been hundreds like you that have got a game or two. It's not about that. It's about establishing yourself as a Celtic player, Lawrence. And I hope both these young kids on the bench, as well as Boston Lawwell, and I know it's slightly different with him because we brought him in from Watford. You want these guys to progress, and you would see, I think, more game time if and when the league title is wrapped up. But it shows you how much belief he has in these players, because this is a massive game. We've got to win this game today.
Oh, definitely. Every game's must win, and Ange is only focusing on 90 minutes at a time. But just to go back with what you said about Tommy saying it's about establishing yourself here. The excellent Peter Grant at Acsom, he was talking about that, ground staff at 15. When he felt a Celtic player was, when he'd established himself in a team, he could hold his head up high then. And it's the challenge in front of these guys, they're, I suppose, 90% of the way there now. They're on the bench. It's just that extra 10% now, isn't it? Pushing on, making sure that, you're not going to be able to drop me, or, you're going to, every time you're thinking about picking a squad, you're going to have to think about me because I've come on and done well. If one of them comes on and scores or gets an assist, it gives Ange food for thought, doesn't it? Because I think Ange will pick them as long as he thinks they're good enough. Some of the players were brought in, they're not that much older than him. You know, Abada got plenty of game time, didn't he? O'Reilly's not that much older. So at some point, you know, hopefully one of these guys is able to do that, get a foothold in the team and establish itself.
Stake a claim.
A beacon of hope for the rest of the guys coming through. You know,
But
then don't listen to Liverpool. Don't listen to Aston Villa or Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
You know what? I can achieve my dreams here.
We'll get you Champions League experience. You know, if you continue on this trajectory, that's going to be the promise, and you're going to win trophies. And then at that point, you know, all these teams will still want you in a couple of seasons, and that's been proven previously. Abada, sorry, we haven't mentioned Abada. He drops out through injury as well. But up top, Jota, Maeda, and Kyogo start. It's a very strong lineup. I'm looking forward to seeing Iwata. But let's go and join the action, Lawrence Conley. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved. And join us at half-time. Lawrence Conley and I will be hopefully talking about a scintillating first-half performance by Andy's men and hopefully a couple of goals that we can talk about as well. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved. And thank you once again, Lawrence Conley, for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.